Good morning. My name is Alex.
And I'm Tom.
And we are teachers at the British School of Tashkent. So I'm at the start of my second year here in Tashkent.
So I'm 4.5 years into my time in Tashkent so far.
So clearly we both like this place. So the idea of this video is to show some of the things that we like about living here in Tashkent and demonstrate that it's actually a really nice place to live.
And to probably, dispel some of the fears that some of you may have about coming to a place like Uzbekistan.
I would say that Tashkent is one of the most pleasant places to live.
I'd say it's a very easy place to live, like you said. People are extremely friendly, welcoming.
We're going to start this little trip around Tashkent with a visit to Alayski, how do you say it? Alayski Bazaar.
Alayski, for Russian speakers, Aloy.
The bazaar is where you're going to get, or you can get, fresh fruit, vegetables, nuts, fish, and apparently you can get pork here.
You can. We've got fresh honey brought from different regions of Uzbekistan. So there's some from the east, the Ghana Valley, some even from as far as Kyrgyzstan. Top dollar, this does not grow anywhere near here. You're gonna have to pay a lot if you want this.
This is what is in season at the moment, right?
Yes.
Pomegranate.
Almond.
Ah, these are almonds.
Wow, that's good.
So $1 for the little one.
$1 for a little one,
and
$2.50
$2.50
for
for
the
the
bigger
big
ones.
one. Yeah.
This one is actually farien, is trout, as far as I'm aware. Then we've got some Norwegian salmon. Take a look at this, we've got some caviar over here. To get traditional, we have English tea #1, Ahmad tea.
From New Zealand. What's this here, Tom?
This is horse meat. This is very popular in Uzbekistan. And these ones are different kinds of meat. So they've got kind of beef, they've got like lamb, mutton, etc.
This is bacon, yeah?
This is bacon.
Bacon? So these are bacon ribs, pork ribs.
Oh, it's just a type of cheese.
It is cheese, okay. So how much is that, Tom?
That was 2,500 sun.
So about 25 cents?
25 cents. Bread actually varies from region to region, right? So this is, generally speaking, Tashkent bread. This is what it looks like. But if you go to Samarkand, you'll get this big, tough, hunk of bread that's extremely dense. Fresh out of the oven. I'm gonna give it a go. Oh, bruv, that is so good.
Now, let's talk about some of the things you can't get in Tashkent. Pork is generally hard to find, but as you can see in the bazaar, we were able to find it. There's a couple of Indian restaurants. We don't think there's a Thai restaurant.
No.
We don't think there's a Malaysian restaurant. There is a Mexican restaurant. I'm not sure how authentic the food is. It's kind of like Tex-Mex style. There's no McDonald's. Soon there will be a Burger King.
It's been promised. We've got KFC.
There is an app called Express24. Most of the fast food options you would want, and that's delivered right to your door. It's in English. You don't need to speak a word of Russian or Uzbek to access that. You can actually get your groceries delivered here as well.
There's lots of Georgian restaurants, lots of Turkish restaurants. They seem to be coming more and more. What else?
There is also Tez Parcel. You can get things sent from the UK, US, Germany, Italy and Malaysia. It takes about a week and a half and costs $8 to $10 a kilogram and is delivered right to your door. I have gotten both a camera and a laptop delivered with no problems.
So we're just happened to be passing a organic boutique, and we found you can buy things like gluten-free spaghetti. which I actually didn't expect to be able to find here.
Tagliatelle as well, for those of you interested in that.
Obviously organic Cheerios,
What else we got?
organic choco balls.
Choco. But it's just good to know that these things are here. You can find some things that you need. Lots of Cheerios, bro. Bread with quinoa, for those who want that kind of stuff, and also oats. What else you've got? Like rice bread, all different types. Like gluten-free bread, all this stuff is available. It's a bit more pricey though, to be honest, a little bit more pricey.
It's time for a sidebar about Uzbekistan's national dish, plov. Every region of Uzbekistan has their own way of doing plov, and Uzbeks will insist that they are all very different. For me, most of them taste about the same. However, I was lucky enough a few months ago to stay with a family in the south near Termez, where I got to see it made firsthand.
Угости, моя хорошая. Моя Ляля, давай. Аиша, они тебя угостят.
Ну, она пусть мясо не ест, только...
Не, отдельно.
Отдельно?
Отдельно.
Okay, let's get back to the story.
Just to illustrate how safe Uzbekistan is and how trusting it is here in Tashkent, so what happens is they take your card, put it into the machine, then they ask you to say your PIN. You say it out loud and they themselves enter your PIN to the card machine.
If that worries you, don't worry. You can just take it and put it in yourself. Basically anywhere you can find alcohol. In terms of beer is always available and vodka is always available. The selection of wine is pretty limited. The selection of craft beer is pretty limited. Any other sort of imported spirit, it's all available, but that stuff is really expensive. However, if you're going to be drinking the local beer, which I think is acceptable, it's really, really cheap.
You're looking at about $1 for a bottle of beer. And also if you want to get some like local Uzbek vodka, you're looking at maybe 25,000, 30,000, which again, $2.50, $3 for a bottle.
For a whole bottle of vodka.
It's about 25,000, 30,000. Uzbek vodka. Then it comes in a bit more. All Uzbek, all local stuff here. If you need to get it up here, what do we have?
This is brandy.
It's like a combination between Fergana and France. So that's a region in the east of Uzbekistan. Brandy.
I think you get pomegranate wine. I've never seen that before. Honestly speaking, most of the people that drink wine that I've talked to don't rate the Uzbek wine that highly.
So we're in just a normal supermarket here in Tashkent, and as you can see there's a lot of tea available. There is coffee here, really good coffee, but this is more of a tea drinking culture. So if you can take a look at all of the stuff we have along here, lots of different flavours. Rotella, tastes of home. If you ever fancy this to accompany your tea, you can also get this, which wasn't here for a long time. This is fairly recent, maybe the last 2 years. Plambir used to be like 20 cents, but now it's gone up to $1. This is called sumalyak, and it's made in the kind of time of the Persian New Year. And there's this whole tradition where neighborhoods come together, and they kind of like stir this pot all night, according to this old tradition. And it doesn't taste amazing when it's in the supermarket, but you can get it all year round. But make sure if you come here, you get some sumalyak, because this stuff is, in my opinion, delicious, although a lot of the expat community will disagree with it. Bananas are always imported. Watermelons are just going out. You can see the last watermelons, it's quite sad. These might be the last watermelons in Tashkent. This is gone, this is July, August, September. We're in November now, so these ones have really done some pretty good work to survive this long. And you have all the selection of here, some of these being imported, some of them being seasonal and brought in recently. We've got here sort of, if you remember this one, not quite as good, bit tougher, not as fluffy, but still. So right now, we're going to show you something really, really cool about Tashkent, which is basically that every car, at least every second car, is actually a taxi. So you can essentially just hail them down and they'll stop, and then you just have to haggle the price. Let's take a look. They'll be taking someone else, and if it's en route, they'll pick up other people. So we got in here, they drop off the first guy, and then go to our destination.
So what we have behind me here is Forn Lebanon, and it is very well known amongst a lot of the expats here in Tashkent. It's a Lebanese place, it's fantastic. They've got really, really good hummus, falafel, all sorts of Lebanese food. So I'm going to go inside there and get some hummus because I've run out. One of the things that people worry about when they move to a new country is where they're going to live. So I thought it would be instructive to quickly show you my apartment. You can see behind me, it's a classic old Soviet building, but the inside is a lot nicer than you would expect. So let's go in and I'll show you where I live. These apartment block kind of stairwells just always do something for me. I love this style. There's also a crazy lady that lives on the first floor that thankfully is not here right now. She always leaves the door open so that she can see who is coming and going. But that's not a typical thing. Okay, let's have a look. Shoes off, Thomas. Kitchen. I'll put my Forn Lebanon hummus right in the fridge. New fridge, cook with gas, pretty standard kitchen. It's nice, everything works. Got my plant. This is, I sit and do my morning meditations right here. I usually drag a chair in here and just eat pizza by the fistful. This is like my workout area, so I do a little workout with the workout on the TV. Bathroom is pretty straightforward, shower's really nice. You can also, as you can see, it can send you into low orbit if you need to. Bedroom's pretty cool. Well, I probably should have made my bed, but I didn't. It gets pretty dry air, but you can just get a humidifier. So I don't come out here that much at this time of the year, but during spring and a little bit earlier in the autumn, it's lovely to hang out here.
This is my extra room. This is obviously my office, spare bed. The thing about apartments is that the British school has a whole set of apartments and they have a property manager that sorts all of that out for you. But if you don't like your apartment, you can just find your own. There's a few real estate agents that speak English, and then once you've found your own, the school will just take over the contract and they pay obviously for the apartment, but all the bills, and you don't have to do anything from there. The only thing you actually need to pay is internet, but apart from that, everything's sorted and paid for. There is one quirk about apartments in Tashkent. I'm not sure if this is true for houses as well, but all of the hot water is done centrally at a district level. So there's somewhere in the district that they pump out all the hot water, and twice a year, at the beginning and the end of winter, it often goes off for a couple of days while they're doing something, probably some maintenance, because the heaters don't run all year. So you can spend a couple of days twice a year without any hot water. That is one quirk about being here.
We're about to go up one of the coolest buildings in all of Tashkent, and I'll just direct your attention to one little thing. As you see these round things, I believe they are supposed to be reminiscent of the exact sort of bread that we bought just before in the bazaar.
Now, we're making this video in the autumn, but to get a real idea of what Tashkent is like, you need to see it in the spring. Tom and I really like Tashkent, but that's just one perspective. So I decided to talk to someone whose experience here is a little bit different to ours.
I came here obviously a few years ago with my 2 young children.
And how is Tashkent as a place to have a family?
I really like having my kids being here in Tashkent. It's not the most exciting capital city in the world, but it's a really safe city. I feel really comfortable with my kids kind of going around and doing activities around the city, and there's plenty for them to do.
You actually bought a pet with you.
It was something that I was concerned about and worried about before I got here, and then I used a company here in Tashkent just to help me with all the paperwork, and she arrived safely and it was actually relatively pain-free. Here in Tashkent there's plenty of vets, plenty of pet shops, so it's been a really easy thing for us to do.
You're one of the only expats I know here who actually drives their own car. How is that experience for you?
I probably brought my driving skills from Cairo, just like I brought the cat. But yeah, buying a car, I wish I'd done it earlier. Buying the car was nice and easy, and I had some help just because of the language barrier, but it's definitely opened up our lives a little bit and changed it. On the holidays, we've managed to kind of get out and about and do some road trips to Samarkand and the Fergana Valley and stuff, so it's just been a nice little adventure. Overall, I really love living here in Tashkent. It's a really nice city, it's safe, there's plenty to do, and it's just somewhere a bit different that I like showing my kids and I like experiencing myself.
So it's almost the end of the day and we've come here to one of my favourite parks in Tashkent, which is quite close to my house. I think of it as the Fish and Bread Park. I don't actually know what it's called. There's a restaurant over there called Fish and Bread. I don't actually know what it's called. There's a few more things we wanted to talk about that seem kind of relevant. One is safety. People have an association with this part of the world. Maybe it's a little bit dangerous. This is one of the safest places that I have ever been.
Absolutely. For me as well, Uzbekistan, Tashkent specifically, is definitely the safest place that I've ever lived. Coming from London is a huge difference as well. And in terms of just going out at night, anytime, completely safe. You can get a taxi at night and you don't have to worry. You can walk home in the middle of the, in the small hours, and you have no problems whatsoever.
Talking to female friends of mine, all of them feel pretty comfortable walking home if they need to at night. I've never heard of any negative incident. I've never even heard of anyone getting anything stolen.
I would still say, take normal precautions, but you really don't need to worry at all. It's a really safe place.
I don't think it's an exaggeration to say that Tashkent as a city is safer than any city in the UK, Australia or New Zealand. Another thing that people might worry about is healthcare. It's very easy to find a doctor or a dentist that speaks English. Also, dental care is really pretty cheap.
The quality of the dental care is quite high as well. Like, all of our colleagues can testify to that.
I went to the dentist just a couple of weeks ago, just over there from this park actually, and I got 2 fillings put in and cleaning done, and I think it was about $100. You've been here for longer. Have you ever heard of anybody having any incidents?
No, not a single person.
Let me go at that side. I love these kind of underpasses? There's some sort of car giveaway thing that's happening, and behind us is the Opera House.
Before we showed you that you can just hail down any taxi on the street, but most of our colleagues and most people here use Yandex. So you can just call a taxi, and it's not necessary to speak any Uzbek or Russian. They'll just take you from A to B, no problem at all. So we're about to do a trip of about 3 kilometers, 4 kilometers, and it's going to come to just over $1. Also, we've got Napoleon. I don't know if any other emperors have been made into cakes, but red velvet. So guys, dinner time. Just that I don't always dress up to eat a burger, but in this case, I am. Ceremonial aspect to burger eating, which you have to have all the paraphernalia of indulging in any meal without wearing a sweater vest. Oh, it's just that right amount of crispiness as well, isn't it?